Stephen A. Smith, First Take, Big Perk, all together came on today and gave huge compliments towards Caitlin Clark, huge praise. And not only there, they were on Twitter as well, giving love to Caitlin Clark, and people seem to not like it, man.
Stephen A. Smith totally lost it on live TV. And for once, it wasn't because someone trashed the Cowboys or left LeBron out of their top 5. This time, his fire was aimed at the WNBA MVP debate. And guess who's in the middle of it all? Caitlin Clark. Stephen A. gave a rant so intense it probably echoed in the parking lot. He wagged his finger, yelled like crazy, and sweated so much the First Take cameras might have fogged up.
Stephen A., she is just different. She's special. Just a different type of electricity, man. Did you hear the roar of the crowd while that shot was in flight? Like, I'm expecting big things from her, especially MVP.
You know, when Stephen A. starts walking around and dropping words like thunder, it's more than a debate. It's a full-blown show. And when he locked in on Caitlin Clark, it was fireworks. What he gave wasn't just a take. It was a dramatic speech. He didn't just back her for MVP, he insisted on it. If you weren't convinced before, congrats. Stephen A. probably just made you feel guilty enough to change your mind. Think Clark's the MVP? Drop Caitlin for MVP in the comments. Let's go.
Well, let's remember this. Last year, in her rookie campaign, it was immediately after she had gone to the national championship game in the NCAA tournament. And then less than 2 months later, she's got a WNBA season where she started and played all 40 games, finished as a unanimous Rookie of the Year, all WNBA first team, finished 4th in league MVP voting.
Let's be honest. Stephen A. has never been one for quiet takes. The man doesn't talk, he explodes. When he covers basketball, it's less like a conversation and more like an audio earthquake. And this time, the center of that quake wasn't MSG or Crypto.com Arena. It was Indiana. Because Caitlin Clark has been putting on such an unreal show, even the loudest guy in sports had to turn the volume up another notch.
She's Caitlin Clark. She put on a show in our old stomping grounds in Iowa versus Brazil.
The WNBA's most dangerous second-year star, the queen of long-range bombs, the dribbling nightmare herself, Caitlin Clark, has officially entered Stephen A.'s obsession list. From day one in the league, she was pulling up from deep like, it was easy, and you just knew Stephen A. was eventually going to hit meltdown mode. And guess what? That time is now.
I think she's ready. She know it's her second year. She know what type of physicality is going to take. Look like she's always in great shape, never afraid of the moment. Again, we're talking about Caitlin Clark here. The spotlight been on her for years. She's not going to shy away from it. I expect her to be in the MVP conversation.
In what felt like a speech fueled by 10 cups of coffee, Stephen A. basically broke the sound barrier just to say what many have been too scared to. Caitlin Clark might already be the true MVP. Not in a few years, not later, right now. She's the kind of player that makes defenders question their careers and keeps rival GMs up at night wondering how they missed her.
And then I'm looking at the regular season, leading all rookies in scoring, field goals made, three-point field goals made, assists, steals, and minutes. She's the real deal. Make no mistake about it.
This wasn't some half-effort moment buried at the end of the show. This was a full-on Stephen A. production. You could practically hear the ESPN crew begging for a commercial as he dove into a take so dramatic it felt like a mix of hot takes and stage play. Somewhere between she's a bucket and she's changing the league, he made one thing clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just in the league, she's taking over, dropping dimes, hitting logo threes, and making defenses. Look silly.
What does she mean to women's sports?
I just think that she's elevating the profile of women's sports in a way that most women should deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate. She's a phenomenal player. She's a phenomenal shooter. I call her the Steph Curry of women's basketball. I've been calling her that since last year.
Let's not act shocked. Stephen A. didn't just hop on the Caitlin Clark hype train. He's been riding shotgun since her Iowa days. He's hyped her up like a mix of Steph Curry's range, Diana Taurasi's fire, and Sue Bird's court vision. Only more social media ready. But this time, he wasn't hinting. He was yelling. He didn't suggest she could win MVP. He demanded it. "Why are we acting like there's a debate?" he shouted. How many more logo shots do you need before we give her the trophy?
You want to promote the sport. You put that girl up in there, and people were appalled at that notion.
Smith's take didn't just join the MVP debate. It took it over. His rant flipped the entire conversation. It wasn't just a hot take. It was a wake-up call. MVP voters, we hope you were tuned in, because Stephen A. just grabbed the sports mic and said what fans at Packed Fever games have been yelling all year. And honestly, is MVP even a big enough title? Let's pause and take in how wild Caitlin Clark's rookie year is. This isn't just a good start, it's a hoops dream. She's dropping insane stats, laughing off triple teams, and passing like she could thread a needle from half court.
What's crazy is you had Monica McNutt, Andrea, Shanae, all on the panel right before the game, and they had a graphic, an interesting graphic that popped up showing that Caitlin Clark had the best odds to win the MVP this year. And man, I wish I could hear what they were saying.
Stat heads are short-circuiting trying to make sense of her numbers. Ridiculous shooting efficiency, crazy assist rates, massive impact on ticket sales, TV ratings, merch, arena buzz, national talk, all unheard of. And yes, defenders are going down left and right. They need ankle rehab and therapy after facing Caitlin Clark. She's not just a player, she's a cheat code. It's like the WNBA downloaded a future superstar by accident and now no one knows what to do. Most second years are still learning how not to get lost on defense. Caitlin? She's hitting game winners, signing autographs mid-dribble, and calling plays like she's the head coach.
So let's start with our 2025 WNBA MVP, and that has to go to the one and only Caitlin Clark. You can say I'm glazing, you can say I'm hyping her up too much, but I truly think that this second year for Caitlin Clark is going to be like nothing we have ever seen.
So when Stephen A. erupted, his timing was perfect. And honestly, the delivery made it unforgettable. He came with the fire of a preacher in a revival tent, the flair of someone possessed, and the certainty of a man who's seen greatness before and knows what it looks like. For a second, you thought he might float off the floor or toss holy water at the crew. It was wild, it was electric, it was Stephen A. at full blast.
You got a girl here who's box office in Caitlin Clark. She is box office. We can lament it all we want to, but the fact of the matter is Caitlin Clark is box office. And we got to get that out the way. And I'll get into all of that a little bit more in just a second, because it's very, very important that we point this out. She fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity. It's what she does.
And somewhere, the old school WNBA media crowd probably cringed. The folks who think the league's face should come from the past didn't love hearing the loudest voice in sports crown a new queen. But Caitlin Clark isn't waiting for permission. She's taking what's hers. Stephen A. gave her the ultimate spotlight. So if you're still holding on to the idea that someone else deserves MVP, just look around. Vegas odds makers, ESPN producers, and 15,000 roaring fans in Iowa already know Clark is the one. And you had to see it coming. Stephen A. can't go 5 minutes without name-dropping legends like they're ingredients in his favorite recipe. His mind is an NBA Hall of Fame speech on loop. Magic, Bird, Jordan. He name-drops them like a kid unlocking players in a 2K fantasy mode, each shout-out bigger than the last, each one dropped with royal-level drama.
Talking about her. And who's to say they ain't gonna lose again and not win a championship? We're still talking about her. Remember, when Bird and Magic, as phenomenal as they were, the champions that they were, there came a point where despite the greatness of them as individuals and the greatness of their teams collectively with the Hall of Famers they were playing with, we were still talking about Jordan before he won the title. Tim, am I lying? Wendy, am I lying? We were talking about him. When's this time? Because we were clamoring for it. And I'm telling you, that's what people, when it comes to women's basketball, are going to be doing with Caitlin Clark.
But here's what Stephen A. didn't need to say, and maybe didn't even realize. Caitlin Clark isn't trying to be the next Magic, or the next Bird, or any other icon. She's not chasing someone else's path or trying to complete some historic checklist. She's rewriting the whole script. She's not squeezing into a preset mold. She's smashing that mold with a deep three and walking off like it's routine. She's the first, the only, the original Caitlin Clark, and that alone is more than enough.
This girl is a superstar. I've been saying it for years. I keep telling everybody she's the Steph Curry of women's basketball, college or pro. She is a superstar.
While Stephen A. was busy verbally body slamming his co-hosts and tossing out wild sports analogies like a dunk contest full of metaphors, something real was happening underneath all the noise. Clark isn't just a shooter, she's a surgeon. With a ball, a point guard with Jedi instincts, a one-woman highlight reel who doesn't need a clock or context to shine, sure, she scores, but she also controls the game like gravity. Every matchup feels like it's being pulled into her orbit. And of course, it wouldn't be Stephen A. without off-the-wall metaphors. One second she's Steph Curry, but more accurate. The next, she's directing a horror film starring helpless defenders. And yet, it all feels real. Watching her run a break is like watching Neo in The Matrix. Everything else slows down but her. Blink once, she's at the rim. Blink twice, she's already posted the clip with a clever caption and 200K likes.
Last year, and to speak to her, to be around her, she's got charisma, she's got style, she's got bravado, she's got class, she's smart as hell. Communicates her thoughts very, very well. She is so incredibly marketable.
Yes, the MVP talk needs more than just flashy highlights. We get it. You want leadership, impact, efficiency, and team success. The whole basketball checklist. But here's the deal. Caitlin's already done all that. Then she double-checked it. Then she scribbled a note at the bottom saying, also changed the league's entire vibe. The Indiana Fever, once seen as the WNBA's version of a rebuilding NBA team, now look dangerous. Opponents are literally spending whole practices trying to figure out how to slow down one rookie. The league schedule is adjusting for her. TV crews can't get enough. And arenas? They went from half-empty to packed, loud, and electric. One Caitlin Clark appearance, and it's a fire hazard.
Her coming into the WNBA, you could just feel, I don't want to use the word resentment at all because it's not fair to women basketball players out there who may have critiqued her. But what I'm saying is that when you're talking about her greatness, it is perfectly okay for those who have been great to say, okay, let's see what you've got.
Ticket sales? More like ticket mania. The kind of buzz we haven't seen since Lisa Leslie made dunking iconic. Only now, it's louder, faster, and viral at lightning speed. Fans are skipping bills just to sit courtside. Security? They need reinforcements. Meanwhile, Caitlin? She's out there dropping logo threes like it's part of the warm-up. And sure, the doubters are crawling out, clutching old trophies and dusty arguments, saying she's too new, not ready, needs more time. The same stale script. They hide behind talk of paying dues and earning it, while completely ignoring that Clark is already the biggest name in women's sports, and maybe sports, period.
I love this one. I really do. I love this young lady. I had the pleasure of doing an event with her, during Iowa's homecoming, because my man Mark Shapiro for WME took me down there, and we were panelists. 10,000 people showed up. It was absolutely phenomenal. This girl is the best in the world.
Here's the truth. MVP doesn't care how long you've been around. MVP is about what you do, and Caitlin Clark is doing everything. She's not just changing games, she's changing the atmosphere. She's the storm warning every coach dreads, and the matchup nobody wants. This year, MVP doesn't mean most valuable player. It means most vicious problem, and that's Clark. Every team's scouting report starts with her name bolded, underlined, and circled. Coaches are losing sleep. Defenses are scrambling for answers. And even then, she goes out and drops 28 like she's taking a jog through the park.
Caitlin Clark is coming. Some people think she's already arrived. I don't. I think she's going to be even better. And I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player.
Stephen A. didn't just yell, he erupted like a volcano. You'd think Caitlin took his favorite parking spot the way he went off. But behind all that heat was something deeper. Pure respect, unfiltered admiration. That kind of praise doesn't Come easy from him unless your name is Jordan or Brady. This is more than basketball. It's a shift in energy. Wherever Clark plays, it feels like the Super Bowl hit town. Cameras swarm warm-ups, not just coaches. Opposing players try switching. Assignments just to avoid ending up on her next viral clip. And ESPN, at this point, they may as well rename a channel after her.
Because when she came into the WNBA, for 22 plus years, they had been flying commercial. They were begging for chartered flights. She arrives there, and 2 weeks later, they got chartered flights. She automatically and instantaneously improved the conditions. Attendance is still lagging. WNBA is still losing money compared to what you would hope it would earn, but clearly things are on an upward trending.
Back in the studio, Stephen A. was practically speaking a new language, somewhere between church preacher and fire alarm on the fritz. His co-hosts were ducking. The sound guy was hammering the mute button. And still, the man just kept going. Because the truth couldn't be ignored. Caitlin Clark is something else. This isn't overhype. This isn't a short-lived trend. It's a full-on shift in women's basketball. Twitter's going nuts. Stats are flying everywhere, and players are realizing Caitlin didn't show up to blend in. She showed up to run things.
It's improving, and she has everything to do with it. Attendance for Indiana Fever games? Are you kidding me? WNBA draft, games on ABC, ESPN, television ratings. She's directly responsible.
She scores like it's second nature. She dishes assists like she's leading a masterclass. She doesn't beg for applause. She earns it, then walks away smiling while defenders try to understand what just happened. She's casually stacking double-doubles while opponents start questioning their careers. And sure, the MVP race is full of stars. Aja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, legends. But what Caitlin's doing? It's beyond great. It's once in a generation. The kind of season that forces everyone to rethink what a rookie is even capable of doing.
I think Clark being in the MVP conversation is kind of the baseline at this point. You know, she's already been that good as a rookie, and I imagine she's going to take another step forward. I mean, we talked about how that Olympic break was so good for her to get some rest and come in with her legs underneath her. Now she has an actual off season, that she got to take off where, she didn't play an Unrivaled, she didn't play overseas. So this is a lot of time for Caitlin to just get her body right and come in the best shape possible for this upcoming season. And I think that's going to pay huge dividends for her. Like there's no ramping up period this time around for Caitlin Clark. She's going to come in on game one and be already one of the top 5 players in the WNBA. So, I mean, I think MVP has to be the ceiling for her, right? Like she's already in that conversation. So for her to, get even higher in the vote total, potentially winning that award either this year or next is what I would expect from her.
Stephen A. might have sounded like he was calling down the basketball gods with every word, but under all the shouting, the point stood tall. Caitlin Clark isn't just hype. She's the real deal. She's power. She's production. And if you still think someone else deserves MVP, then you haven't been paying attention. As this season moves along and Caitlin keeps casually breaking physics while wearing a grin, remember what Stephen A. said. This isn't normal. This isn't expected. It's something special, and it needs to be honored.
We own the moment. We're not here to chase greatness. We're here to claim it. Our ambitions don't fit into headlines or highlight reels. So if you thought we arrived,
2 more for Boston.
Now you know. We're not here for the moment. We're here for the takeover.
If the MVP award is really about impact, excellence, leadership, and changing the game, then Caitlin Clark has already earned it. Every time she pulls up from deep with the calm of someone swatting a bug, she's just adding more proof. So sure, keep clinging to your old school opinions, keep saying she needs more time, but don't be shocked when she drops 40, ends your team's playoff hopes, and signs jerseys on her way out. Because if Stephen A., master of noise, king of takes, MVP of yelling, is ready to kneel and say she might be the one, then maybe the rest of us need to catch up. Think she's the MVP this year? Drop a Caitlin for MVP in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on those alerts. Tap the next video. We'll catch you there.